kids! Welcome to our lesson for today. So remember, last time we were talking about Elisha and the woman of Shunem and how her son had died. But Elisha went there to the house, prayed to God, and God performed a miracle because the woman of Shunem's son came back to life and she was so happy. So now we are going to see what else happened with Elisha and in Israel. So remember, there was the kingdom of Israel and then there was the kingdom of Syria. And Syria had decided to attack Israel again. So now Syria would attack Israel with raids. So they would go and they would raid Israel. And this means they would go attack them and then take everything they can and run back home to Syria. And this one time they went and they attacked and they took a young Israelite girl.
So sad. They took this young girl and
they took her away
from her home and they took her to Syria.
And they took her to Syria and there they presented her to the general. And their general was called Naaman. Now Naaman was very popular with the men because he was a very good soldier. He had won so many battles against Israel, and even the king of Syria thought that Naaman was very important. And when Naaman saw this young Israelite girl, she was young and she was healthy and energetic and very strong. So he decided he's going to take her and she's going to become a slave for his wife.
So Naaman decided that this young girl that they took from Israel was going to be the slave to Naaman's wife. So Naaman took the young girl to the wife and presented her as a slave to the wife. And the girl, well, she worked for the wife and she became homesick. She missed her people. She was sad because she didn't want to be there. But
this was her new life.
And she decided to get used to it, and she decided to do what she was supposed to do when she was there.
And she also knew that there were other slaves in Syria and they were treated much worse than she was. But for her, Naaman's wife did not treat her badly. So whenever she was sad or upset or missed home, she would hide it and she wouldn't tell Naaman's wife.
She wouldn't tell anyone. So one day, as she was with Naaman's wife mentioned how Naaman had a condition with his skin that was very bad and they had tried to find a cure for him. But there was no cure for him, and it would only get worse
and worse. So
Naaman was very sick. But the girl remembered Israel and she remembered Elisha and how Elisha did so many good things and healed so many people. And the girl said to the woman, "I wish we were in Israel because Naaman would have gone to the prophet and the prophet would have cured him and he would have gotten well from his skin disease."
Exactly.
And then the wife listened to the girl and decided, "I'm going to tell Naaman what this young girl has said." So Naaman's wife went to Naaman and told Naaman what the young girl had said, how there's a prophet in Israel who can cure him. But so Naaman decided to go to the king now, the king of Syria, and tell him what his wife had said, the young girl had said. So he went to the king and told the king everything that the wife told him. And then the king was like, I would do anything to make sure that you're cured. So the king decided to write a letter immediately to the king of Israel, asking him to help cure Naaman.
So then the king of Syria wrote the letter to the king of Israel, and then Naaman took his horses and chariots and they went down to Israel. And when they got to Samaria, the king of Israel was so scared and so terrified because he thought they had come for war. And then Naaman gave the king of Israel the letter, and then the king of Israel read the letter, and the letter said, "This is to introduce my general Naaman. Cure him."
And
from
it was
his
like
disease.
a command. And the king was like, Who does he think I am? I cannot cure him.
I don't know how to cure anyone. And the king knew if I don't find a way to cure him, then the king of Syria is
He's
going to use
that,
this
yes.
to start a war.
Mhm.
But then someone had heard all of this that had happened,
And
and
gone
then
and
had gone and
told
told
Elisha,
Elisha.
yes.
And then Elisha quickly wrote a letter to the king of Israel
And
and said, send
Mhm.
Naaman to me.
Yes.
He will learn that there is a prophet of God in Israel.
So we are going to see what
Happens.
happened.
We're going to see what
Yes,
happens
we're going
next
to see what happens
with
next.
Elisha and Naaman. But
Yes.
children,
Mhm.
for today our lesson is this young girl was taken away from her home,
her
and her
people,
friends and her
yeah.
family and her people and
Mhm.
everything that she knew, and she was taken to become a slave in another country.
Yes.
And she was sad and
Yeah.
upset and she was homesick. But even though she was going through all
All
of these
that,
troubles, she
yes.
still did good where she was.
Yes,
She
and-
did, she worked,
Yes.
and she even helped Naaman by
To
telling him
realize,
that there is a
yes, there's
place,
someone who can cure
there is
him.
someone who can cure him.
Yes.
So even when we go through troubles, or when we're taken to places we don't like, or when
Yes, to
something
go through
happens
things that you do
makes
not
us sad
like.
and upset and we don't like it,
Yes.
we should always do good, because that is
Yes.
what God wants us to do, no
Yes.
matter what.
Yes, and you should always remember not to complain, because the young girl had all the reasons to complain. She was taken away from her home. She didn't want that, but
She was
she
made a
realized.
slave.
Yes, she was made a slave, and then she realized there are other people who are going through worse than I am. So she decided, I'm not going to complain. I'll get comfortable where I am and I'll do what I'm supposed to do. And that is how she was able to even help Naaman know there's someone who can cure him in Israel. So this is a good place for us to stand and sing our song. So let's all stand up and sing this song.
So it's time to sing our song. Now we've just talked about how the little girl was taken away from her home and she was taken to Syria to become a slave. But she did everything she needed to do without complaining. Even when she was sad and homesick, she still worked without complaining. So now we're gonna sing a song about how we're supposed to do everything without complaining.
Yes.
So everyone stand up and help us sing this song. Do everything without complaining. Do everything without arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure children of God. Do everything without complaining. Do everything without arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure children of God, without complaining, without arguing. Do everything. Do everything without complaining. Do everything without arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure children of God. Do everything without complaining. Do everything without arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure children of God. Yay! Okay, kids, it's time for us to do our craft. Now we've just learned about the girl who was taken away from her home and made a slave in Syria. And no matter what, she still did good, even when her life became difficult. So to remember this story, we have drawn a girl. So we're going to color her, and then we're going to use the straws to put her in prison, because when she was taken away from home, it was like moving from your favorite place into a place you don't like very much, which is prison. So we're going to take the straws, and she's going to look like she's in jail. But the first thing we need to do is we need to make sure that we know where our story is coming from. So take your pen, and I want you to write the Israelite girl is taken to Syria, because that's what happened. Then I want you to write 2 Kings chapter 5, because that is where our story is found in the Bible, in 2 Kings chapter 5. Then now is my favorite part. We get to color our girl. So take your colors and just start coloring the girl. Okay, so once you have your girl colored, take your straws and start on the very farthest end, so one side to the other, and just staple down the straws. Okay, there we go. So our story today was that the Israelite girl was taken to Syria, and that no matter what, she still did good. Even when she was sad and upset and she had to work, she still did good. And she even told her master Naaman how to get a cure. And next time we're going to see what happens to Naaman when he goes to Israel.
Yes, and remember, kids, no complaining, no matter what situation you're in. You should not complain. Just like the little girl did not complain. She decided to look at the good side of things, and she said, there are other people who are being treated worse than I am, so I'm just going to accept where I am and do what I'm supposed to do. So that should be your attitude. So that has been our lesson for today, and that's our craft today. Until next time, bye.